Ken says,
Guys, I'm live,
so we can call the meeting. And Dave's still on.
yeah,
There was a couple of years.
yeah, it's gonna be a different. That's all. I think that should be a whole lot more. Yeah, it would be more volatile, but I mean, I can do it. But what Facebook is trying to do is they're trying to monetize reels, which are competitive.
We call the meeting to order at this time. Our secretary just left me a message, said she's running a couple minutes late, but to keep things on schedule, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're going to ask you if you would, first of all, welcome everybody for coming. But if you would stand, and we have our invocation and our pledge of allegiance. Travis, would you lead us?
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus. Lord, we love you and we praise you, God. God, we just ask that you touch each and every one here tonight, Lord. And Lord, touch our leaders, God. And Lord, touch our country and our troops, Lord. Who
Yes,
are
Father.
over in other countries, Lord, right now, defending the freedom, Lord. And Lord, we thank you for all that you've done and what you're going to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Paul.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can be seated. Just give me one quick second. While I'm looking this up, I don't know if any of you have noticed, hey Kim, we told him you were running a few minutes late. I'm glad you could join us. The Marion County Facebook, GOP Facebook page has surpassed 400 followers. We actually have 413 followers. And I actually, you know, I see Tom, I hope he's a proud daddy sitting back there, but James Hudson, that fine man, young man, is the one that got that started. And we are, he is working on a website also. It's a great tool to get out meeting notices. As soon as the primaries are over with, we're going to figure out somehow for our candidates, James can do it, to get on that page. And now, I think this week we had 3,000 views. And I would say that's mostly county-wide. So we're going to allow our Republican candidates in the general elections to use this Facebook page as you see fit. Now,
after the primary or now?
after the primary. Only James and I have posting rights right now. We got to figure out how to open that up during the election season. I'm Miss Rose.
Yes.
Czar.
Rosar.
Right, Rosar. Miss Rosar is asked to speak just for a minute. She's not feeling well and she wants to get out of here. So, you know, I'm not like the county commission meeting. If somebody's got something to say, Miss Rosar.
Quiet last night.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Go ahead, ma'am.
National Day of Prayer is May 7th first Thursday, and we'll be meeting at the courthouse at noon. And because this is the 250th year, 76 to 2026, I'm hoping somebody will do the reiteration for the Gettysburg Address of Lincoln. Yeah, and we're going to have our moment of silence for 9/11 and October 7th, because we have our Never Forget campaign. And the other thing is, I did want to say about the Liberty Bell. We have been sharing about our Liberty Bell project. If you got a bell on your farm, down at your business, ring it every day till election time. People say, what you doing ringing your bell? Well, if they can cuss and burn down stuff and steal stuff, we can ring our bell for freedom. So that's what we're gonna do. And we've canceled our barbecue out at our farm because I have an alumni meeting that was supposed to be the first week of June. But I will get back with you all. You're welcome to come, bring your bucket and pick some blackberries if they're ready. Thank you.
Really?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Thank you, and hope you get to feeling better.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Can we have the reading of the last month's minutes?
Sure. All right. Meeting was called to order at 6:01 p.m. by Chairman Jeff Story. The invocation was led by Corey Blevins, and Paul Schaefer led the pledge. Special guests for the meeting were Nick Devins from Marsha Blackburn's office, and currently running for governor of Tennessee, John Rose. David Thompson read the minutes of the January meeting. A motion to accept the minutes as read was given by Vice Chairman Marilyn McDavid. It was seconded by Kim Grayson and approved. The budget was reported. The budget report was presented by Treasurer Paul Schaefer. Closing balance on this date is $6,221.03. Marilyn McDavid announced that there was no Republican candidates running against Jeff Story in the primary, so he will not be stepping down from chairman of the Marion County GOP. No recording of the meeting was done due to the hardball interview taking place at the meeting time. Jeff Story announced that signs can be placed 60 days before election, and no campaign can place signs in government buildings. Please report all sites of signs or propaganda so the State Election Commission will be notified, as well as the 12th Judicial District Attorney Courtney Lynch. This is a prosecutable offense as per Attorney Billy Galver at the Marion County Commissioners meeting. The Reagan dinner, previously to be held at the Riverdance restaurant, will be tentatively held at the Lookout Winery awaiting confirmation. Tennessee Representative Scott DeJolet staff would like a committed date coordinated with House and Senate out of session. Commissioners Paul Schaefer and Rorik Brent were commended on the work of the $216,000 water line that has to be moved. It was tabled until Commissioner Blancett could be present for the vote. Jeff Story will be writing the SEC to address confusion and ensure that all Republican candidates are bona fide Republicans. The state SEC will review each non-bona fide candidate and send letters of confirmation for removal from the ballot. The state has until March 30th of 2026 to confirm bona fide status, and letters will go out as needed. Nancy Perry posed the question of candidates switching parties, which prompted the concern. Support for bona fide Republicans first, and Jeff announced again the Republican candidates running by primary. Candidates and board members were given opportunity to speak about current community concerns and possible solutions. Election integrity, growth and management, government transparency, currently building property management, housing, animal control, tax breaks for low incomes and seniors, funding oversight, and illegal drugs were all discussed. A motion by Marilyn McDavid to adjourn the meeting at 7:16 was approved by the board.
Before, I think there's one correction. John Rose was not here, his representative.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah. Other than that,
So moved.
I move to accept the minutes as corrected.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can we have the treasury report?
Donations last meeting was $68. Interest was 1 cent on our savings account. Leave us a ending balance of $6,238.14.
that interest is really piling up.
Oh, yeah.
One cent at a time.
Thank you, sir.
Are you gonna pass the thing around?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got
please.
mine in already.
Why he's doing that, it's interesting. The city of New Hope had been banking with a bank in, I think it's South Pittsburgh forever. And they were getting .0028% interest on their money. Now they've had that money in there forever. We were getting no interest. Well, the board there called the bank and said, you gotta do better. And they said, well, and they increased it a little bit, maybe .0050. Well, they went to a competitive bank, and I want to say they got 3.5% interest, because it's $1 million they've got over there in a rainy day fund. You know how much money that city has lost? He's joking about that interest, but that's kind of, we've got $50 in a savings account, and I'm really, Dave, do you know why we have that, Dave?
That keeps the checking free. That $50 is required to keep the checking free.
Well, when I ordered checks, I had to pay.
You gotta pay for the check.
Oh,
You
well,
got-
I meant
the checking account.
System. You don't, the
Oh,
checking account.
the account itself, not the checks you write
Right.
on the account. My bank doesn't charge me anything for a checking account.
Yeah, that's what you got on mine.
No, I don't. Who's been lying to you? That's so funny. Anyway, okay.
But all the debits, all the slide cards, that's all free. As long as
Right.
you got that $50 sitting there.
Okay, it makes sense, and I never did anything with it, and I don't think we should.
I never included that in any of my
Yeah, I did.
audits or anything.
Right,
It was just $50 to keep the thing revolving.
and Dave, I never did either, because I just knew it was out there for a benefit. I didn't totally understand it till tonight, but, okay,
Well, to be accurate, I included.
okay. It's not gonna throw us off by much, $50. Okay, the next item on the agenda is, unfortunately, Mr. Thomas has decided to resign as our assistant secretary. And he has submitted a letter of resignation, and that has to be approved by 2/3 of the board. So we are going to take a,
I move to accept his resignation.
okay, do I have a second?
She seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm present. He's my helper.
Yeah, he was. So the motion carries. With that being said, we need a new vice secretary. Thank you.
I move to have Nancy Perry be our vice secretary.
Second.
Okay, but we don't vote till we close the nominations. Are there any other nominations? Okay, can I hear a motion to close the nomination?
I so move.
Second,
Aye.
It's the higher amounts.
got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can't really over here.
You all are not paying attention.
Aye. Paul gave us an aye. That motion carries.
What's the name again?
So Nancy Perry and.
Nancy Perry, we are actually going to vote now
Yep.
to accept Nancy, since the nominations have been closed, to accept Nancy as our vice secretary. Can I get a motion?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nancy, for stepping up.
Come on up.
I know you got a lot going on, and Nancy has served on this board
Has she ever?
forever. And every time there's a
Yeah, my
need-
hair was blonde when that
But every time Nancy, if we have a need, she'll step up if we can't find it. It was not her preference, I'll tell you that, because she's got a lot going on in her life. But she loves the Republican Party, and she loves Marion County, and we appreciate
Been
her.
unbelievably faithful to this party.
Yes, over the years. And I do want to say, Dave, we're going to miss you. You've been a big part, as long as I have. I think you came on as treasurer, I came on as assistant treasurer.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Now, I can't remember, that was 4 years
But
ago.
it's been an honor to serve with you, and I
Thank you.
continue to be
Same here.
what do you call bona fide Republican and part of all of this group.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Okay, I had a few comments. I want to talk about sign etiquette. I just, my personal feelings, and that's all they are, and you take it for what it's worth. But if you're placing a sign and you're blocking an opponent's sign, shame on you. There's no sense in that. That's childish. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in the mayor's race. And I've seen one example of a mayoral sign blocking my sign. I only have 10 signs up. I don't need them. But, come on, guys. We're grown up. Now, the signs around, there's a misconception out there on Facebook. It said somebody put a sign on public property. Well, that's where you're supposed to put it. You put them on state right-of-ways, city right-of-ways. Do not put your sign in somebody's yard. That's trespassing.
Unless they say.
Yes, unless they
Give
ask
them
you
permission.
to. But I keep hearing on Facebook, there's one post about all the sheriff's candidates. They should know the law. They're going to all end up in jail because they put their signs in the medium. The medium. But, use common sense. But the right-of-way, public right-of-ways are an excellent place to put your signs. Now, a little hint from experience from my 2 races I've ran. Put them next to a street sign, a speed limit sign, because the state, I asked Court if he was mowing my signs down about 4 years ago or something. It was a state. If it's a state highway, if you ain't got it up against something, they're gonna mow it down, and they do not care.
They'll shred it.
They shred it. You will not find it. Well, you'll find pieces of it. So that's all I've got to say about signs. Now, the Reagan dinner, and I need y'all's help on this. Suzanne, I would love for us to take a road trip with as many board members as we can to, what's it called?
Lookout Winery.
Lookout Winery. And just see if that's where we want to have our Reagan dinner. I've eaten there when I went to check it out because Suzanne and Larry had been there, and y'all, this place is unreal as far as food.
Yep.
They fly their ingredients in from Italy.
Yep.
It's
It's
amazing.
the driveway that bothers me.
Huh?
The
Driveway.
driveway is going to be the issue,
Yes, but
especially if it's at night.
no, they built a new kind of wedding venue that's really large and nice, and you don't have to go up and around to the top of the restaurant. You cut short. So he's talking anywhere from $25 to $30 a plate. That's cheap.
But that's not pizza though.
Inexpensive.
That is salmon and
Lasagna.
lasagna.
It is some other things. Salad.
And salad,
Salad,
and
bread.
there'll be, he said, a potato with the salmon. You know, hey, we're not trying to fatten them. We're not even trying to feed them. We're trying to get their money. And I say that in jest, but that is our major fundraiser for the Republican Party. And we haven't had one, Dave, since you and I started
I don't
serving.
remember doing this.
We haven't had a Reagan dinner. This is where we invite our senator, our congressman, and this will be after the primary, so it'll still be the congressman because he's out of the race at that time. I don't know if that's going to happen. We will invite the 3 gubernatorial candidates. And folks, these people are not afraid to pay money for a table in a prestigious place in the hall, meaning up front where they can be seen. So I'm kind of thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 per person. Because remember, we're going to spend $25 on the food. He said 25 to 30. So we're not going to make much.
Who are you expecting to come?
I'm expecting,
I'm not talking about candidates now, Jeff. You know, candidates donate us money at all the dinners we ever have. They donate some money, you know. But you know, most of the money comes from our locals. You know, only so many candidates are going to be there spending that kind of money. Your locals are not going to spend that kind of money. They're not.
and I appreciate that. I really do. I kind of look at,
And that's the kind of dinners they do have in larger locations, you know, and I've been to those and they're really nice. But our history, we just haven't had that kind of thing, Jeff.
when was the last time we had a Reagan dinner? Just a second.
Well, we didn't ever call them, I
Huh?
don't think we ever called them regular dinners.
What did we call them? I mean, what were they?
I don't remember what we called them, but you know, we always had them down there in Kimball. And then we went for picnics at the park.
Yeah, no, we did
We've never
$10. I came to one of them and it
Never
was really
had
nice.
this type of thing that you're talking about since I've been here. And, been a while now. And it's just me, but I just don't believe they will. You know, we did things like, what was the most, Marilyn, we ever charged? And
$10, and we cleared $1,000. Each time we were in Kimball, we cleared $1,000.
is that all we did?
See, and that's not gonna fund this party.
No, but you know, you can spend the money to do it, but you know, just because you have a party don't mean they're gonna come local. I'm concerned that we won't have the turnout that we need.
How many people here would pay $50 to go see our gubernatorial candidates and our... You pay $50, no problem.
Plus my wife.
And the best part about it is
I'm not going
we're
along.
saying we're gonna have lasagna and salmon instead of rubber chicken.
Right. Right.
So you're getting an upgrade in your meal.
Yeah. I hope,
What if we say this?
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Well, what if we say this? If he comes in at $25 a plate, let's put it at 40. If he comes in at 30, let's put it at 50, because we have no choice. If we're gonna, you know, these tables that the senators and the congressmen and the gubernatorial candidates are gonna be $1,000 per Promise you that, and we will get it. If y'all remember when Irish Rudder came, gave us a card, and she gave us $1,000 because she's never, no, it was 1,000.
Just 1,000.
I was treasurer.
It was 1,000.
We took in
We
donations.
took in donations.
Oh.
But she wrote the $1,000 check because I was doing them.
Yeah, but
I wasn't
anyway,
here. I was losing.
she said she had not attended any of our Reagan or Lincoln Day dinners. And she said she's been donating to all these other counties, their dinners, and she gave us $1,000. So we could get $1,000 to $1,500 a table for the dignitaries. Y'all, it's not their money, it's campaign money, it's PAC money. So that's where I thought our biggest, so maybe we could come down a little bit. Maybe we could just go $10.
We've never catered, you know, we've always just had these low-key things that we did ourselves, you know.
Right.
And,
And those are effective.
yeah, and they were always good, well-attended, they were always well-attended, we always had packed room, but we've never really done it on this level. And, you know, it'd be wonderful if we could.
Where is this place anyway?
It's on 41, just before you get to,
It's in Gill.
They'll
it's after Guild, it's before you get to Hell's Bar.
Oh, you said Lookout, I thought it was on Lookout Mountain.
What is called Lookout
But it's not on
Winery.
Lookout Mountain.
No, but
Okay.
he's got a view there.
Oh, it is
See the river,
beautiful
yeah.
view.
All right.
Okay, question.
Yes.
I think we
Now,
ought to go
you have
there.
those candidates. You've got Iris, you've got our
Todd Gardner.
garden hired. I mean, you could even get Janice Bowling, she's second in command in the Senate. We might try to widen that part.
We can ask all the candidates running.
But if,
I mean,
Well, it's
cover
after
up
the
elbows
primary, so.
but if we don't have a good crowd, they're gonna be sorry they paid that kind of money to speak to nobody.
That's the risk they take, because we can't guarantee turnout. Duke,
Just point out that you're very close to both Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain, and you could potentially market it there and pull people in from
Excellent.
Hamilton County.
excellent. And maybe we could pull Chuck Fleischman in, if we're pulling for those areas. You know, there's so much we gotta do, and we gotta do it pretty quick. I mean, the end of May, 1st of June is close. And y'all, the primaries are close.
Yeah, they are.
What are they, 5 or 6 weeks? 5?
5 weeks, I think.
April 15th.
That's early voting.
That's early
Early
voting.
voting,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought they moved it up. Okay, so the other idea I had, and I'm gonna, anybody know, I know you do, Tom, Rob Wolfen? Is that his, you know him? He does some nice printing. Now, he's a staunch Democrat, but he's never had a problem doing work for me, knowing I'm a Republican. So what I thought, you used him too, Larry, he's a good guy, and does quality work. But what I thought is that we'd also have a program. And we'll sell full-page ads, half-page ads, quarter-page ads, just to get some more revenue. But I gotta meet with Rob and see like what something like that would cost and what kind of material he needs from everybody that buys the ad. You know, can they send him a email with it attached, or just get the logistics and maybe make a little money there too. So, yes.
Okay. We went, Ben and I went to the Reagan Day over at the lake in Winchester. Iris was there, Governor Lee was there. They had a section, because this was out on a big wharf pier with a restaurant, and all along this to get out to where the dining area was, they had solicited from people, companies, whatever, donations of goods. A big basket, something another from stores and, okay, women love it with the perfumes and, you know.
And the soaps and lotions.
So, if you add that to it,
What did you do, like a silent
Silent
auction or?
yes, put the paper out there and you just,
We got some creative minds. And you know, it may be a big bust, but we gotta step out on faith. We haven't done one in a long time. We don't know what kind of results we're gonna get. But it sounds like other counties have had some pretty darn good results.
And if you get Governor Lee to come in and speak,
Yes.
he will draw people in also to come.
See, I use Todd or Senator Gardenhire, and we use Representative Rudder to reach out to Governor Lee and see if we could get some participation there. Okay. Signs around here. We are encouraging all candidates to bring your signs in. And if you support a particular candidate, or you may not support them but don't have a problem putting a sign in your yard, grab one of these. We want to help Republican candidates. So I encourage you each meeting to bring a handful of signs. I'm going to take Kelly Hogan. I can't take anybody else's because I have to remain neutral. But Kelly's running for trustee as an independent, and I support her. She was a Republican. She's going to run as a Republican, and we told her she couldn't. And she has no Republican challenger. So, okay. I thought we would have some new candidates, but I don't see any. I thought Rory's opponent, she asked me when the meeting was, so I thought she might have showed up. She would have showed up, but maybe something come up. Okay. There's been questions on the Facebook why we have the meeting right after the county meeting. And Steve's not here, Franklin. He was chairman when we decided to do this because we wanted to hear from our county commissioners why they voted the way they did.
But they don't show up.
Yeah.
Your county commissioners don't show up, so you're never gonna hear why they voted.
Well, they used to.
Yeah.
We used to have a good number of commissioners show up for this meeting. So that's why we have this meeting, and unless somebody on the board wants to change it, I'd like to leave it alone. I'd like to be able to discuss what happened. We have a county commissioner right here that played a big role last night. And yeah, I'd like to discuss it. I told Duke last night he's more than welcome to come.
Thank you.
Marion County Messenger took some hits last night for reporting the truth. And it's not always favorable for Republicans either. But the truth's the truth, and that's what a news source should be. So,
Thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Hey, Jeff, if I could make a comment?
Yes.
He had it before anybody else did, by the way. He had the information before anybody else.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and was shunned for sharing. Not, okay, just looking at the agenda last night, we could skip a whole lot of the cookie cutter, eyes. You know, there's a whole lot of them, but as we got down, it got,
SR2.
huh?
You wanna hit SR2?
Well, SR2, yeah, please, share some light, and
There's,
you may or may not want to speak, but
I had questions on SR2. Now, we are the taxpayer. The county commissioners are only responsible for funding. We set the tax rate, we vote on how the money's being spent. The water line that was SR2 in question was a federal grant money that came into the county that was divided up amongst the different water commissions. And South Pittsburgh Water received their share. They were gonna put this line in. Where it comes kind of murky, and what I wanted to get to is having the workshop is to get clarification on when that money was allocated to South Pittsburgh, who then was in charge of the project? Was it South Pittsburgh Water, which Graff says he was not involved in it? So then who was involved? Who made the decision to put the water line in on CDOT property without their permitting? When did when were the permits pulled for the water line to go in? Was it before or after they put it in on TDOT property, and then TDOT came in and said, you need to move that water line off that right of way, and you have to reinforce the abatement? These are the questions that I want, and nobody wants it answered because they don't want to point the finger to the person who made the decisions because they're trying to protect that person. I was also told that we can't go after and they fired the first contractor that they had and hired, engineer, and hired a different engineer who used the first engineer's plan. So why was this first engineer fired? There's so many questions, and it's winding up, it's gonna cost us an extra $216,000 of your money, taxpayer money, to remediate the work to TDOT's request. And that's all I have to say. I see some people rolling their eyes. That's
Why
fine.
is the change order 188? How did that occur? How did we go from 216 to 188? I don't understand that.
you know, and I was gonna correct Paul because the mayor come out and
I
said
don't
that
know.
the change order was
We're-
actually
Well, we should-
188.
We don't know anything.
But everybody was in agreement, or everybody understood 216. And then at the last second, it went to 188.
Last month it was
And they said-
216, and then this month it's 188.
And they
Is there
also
a written
said,
bid for 188?
We don't know.
they also said last night that it was, negotiations were ongoing, and it would probably come in for even less than that. And we all know construction projects often come in for less than what they bid.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
All the time. My house when I built it. Okay, thank you, Paul, and thank you for fighting a good fight for our taxpayers.
Somebody's convinced, we transferred 188. So if there's any more money needed, this is gonna have to come back before the board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, there have to be another change order.
Okay.
Jeff, do you mind if I add something to what as long as
Yes.
we're talking about this? And I promise I'll be brief.
3 minutes.
Yeah. So this is what really confounds me as much as anything. What I was trying to do last night was I was just trying to start a discussion So there would actually be some dialogue before that vote, so that we could see that these commissioners had done their due diligence. Because what I had found the month before, when I went to the same meeting, it was originally on the agenda for last month, February. And because this is how it happened, people, if you weren't there. So Rick moves to amend the agenda because the committee had not met on this issue.
Well, table it, clearly.
That's right. He was amending the agenda to table that particular agenda item. He was soundly defeated. When that item came up, Rick again started to say, I request that I'd like to table this. Well, you could see just from the reaction of all these commissioners, they were recoiling. They were ready to shoot him down again. And if it weren't for Rick saying, because we're about to spend $217,000 of the taxpayers' money, and we feel like they need an explanation. When he said that, the gallery, all us out there, start shaking our heads and murmuring. And that was when the commissioners began to talk about it. When they began to talk about it amongst each other, and I watched it again it was all questions. Well, has this been done? Well, has that been done? None of them had any answers. None of them had any information at all on what SR2 is. Now, as the constituents that are coming into that meeting, what do we see on the agenda? Approval of the change order for SR2. What does that tell us? That tells us nothing about what that issue is. There is no way that people like us, our constituents, are getting any information. We are not being informed, and the commissioners aren't even informed. That's all I have to say. Thank you. I hope I got that through.
No, you were.
The reason why it was tabled was Blanson wasn't at last month's meeting, and he's the chairman of that committee.
But the committee hadn't met.
I know they hadn't. That's why we finally got it tabled.
Yeah, but I think.
The 217.
And the mayor made a statement that really irked me. I said, well, if this was not done properly and we have to pay remediation to get it done, let's go after the contractor who first put it in. He says, statute of limitations is out, we can't go after him. And that's, I still won't
How does
know.
he even know that?
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
So I think that he was talking through smoking something funny.
I have another question. Also, one of the reasons that they gave for needing to pass it last night was that they need to get these people water.
Yep.
How long has this project been going on?
2 years.
2 years, and suddenly it's time.
Over 2 years.
Yeah.
And,
November 23.
and there was a pipe, if I'm not mistaken, there was a pipe put in before, and there were problems, there were variances from what TDOT agreed to. They had to redo it, and this is the second time. And they did this on a holiday. And I looked at the TDOT letter before I come in. They did this on a holiday, on President's Day. They did not close the road properly, and a state trooper found the road without the proper closures. And the pipe went over a TDOT conduit.
Right. Yeah.
Was laid over a conduit.
And the specification was it's supposed to be 3 feet outside the wing wall of the conduit.
Exactly. So they're 4 feet off? 5 feet off? At least?
Oh, at least. Okay. Enough about SR2. Now I will say, I am glad that we are trying to be expedient in getting water to the citizens of Marion County. That's never been in question. That's the goal of everybody running for office, in office, dreaming about being in office.
Wasn't that important until election year.
They've been working on it for 2 years. It's not that important.
Well, yeah. It's urgent now, yeah. And now I get it. I'm slow. Okay. Well, another item.
I just got one thing before you run on. No matter what gets proposed or said or anything, because I heard people say things, well, this guy was, it always gets voted 10-2 or 9-2.
Right.
It doesn't matter whatever's proposed, whether it's a good idea, bad idea, it gets voted 9 or 10 to 2 every single time.
Exactly.
How many Republicans are sitting up there under an R after their name?
7.
No.
Yeah, 2 good ones.
Yeah, but how many real Republicans
Let's
are there?
see, there's 12.
Yeah. I put signs up for some of them that's sitting up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's 12.
Supposed to be.
We had super majority on the last election.
And nothing has changed. Nothing. You got 2 people up there fighting to do what's right, and they're butting their heads against a brick wall. It's really sad.
Good question, Tom.
Yeah, but you're gonna be giving out money to Republican candidates. The ones that are sitting up there voting the way you want to, or the ones that's not?
You're gonna do all Republican candidates after the
You're gonna
primary
give
is what
people
he's
who voted
asking.
against you every time they could, for
Every
the last
time.
2 years, hand them cash money, because if you are, I wanna take my $3 back. That's just, it's not right. We just can't keep doing this, doing the wrong thing.
What I think I'm hearing is that commissioners that don't participate with us may not be qualified to get $200 check from us.
I love it.
I do
And
too.
we will take that up with the board when we meet. We're gonna put a qualification in there. And I haven't seen I can't count the number of Republican commissioners that have never attended this meeting.
I just can't see us agreeing
We hear
to
you
giving
loud,
them.
Dave, we hear you, Tom.
Well, if they're bona fide, I
Yeah.
mean, you know.
Yes.
They're bona fide.
I'm not.
They're bona
We
fide.
hear,
bona fide,
did you
they
say
have to
that
be
about
I understand.
the money? That's what we're talking about. I love it, guys.
I like that idea.
See, this is the exchange that we need to come together and have, and we need more voices. I don't know why our crowd's off tonight. Last month it was really full in here. But, the next one,
Turned them off.
huh?
I said, I think the last night's meeting had something to do with people being turned off.
It could,
Yep.
because it was a spectacle, and that's putting it nicely. The resolution for school anti-discrimination policy. I just want to clarify something. And tell me if I heard it wrong. Dr. Griffith said, as long as they're not doing it on school time, school equipment, they can say whatever they want. That's what I got out of what Dr. Griffith, am I wrong?
I heard that. That's exactly what he
So
said.
bullying, cyberbullying is perfectly okay with him then.
And our
And
students
people,
can
children
follow.
are dying because of that kind of thing.
Yes, ma'am, Pixie.
I was gonna say that is one of the main concerns that I'm hearing as I'm doing my campaign about your kids' safety or feeling good while they're at school, or, you know, an environment conducive to learning. I am hearing that a lot from while I'm out campaigning.
On that subject,
Yes, sir.
I heard, I can't substantiate this, but I heard that South Pittsburgh football team were given rings for becoming state champions.
Yes.
Yes. They spent $77,000 of taxpayers' money for those rings.
Yes, it was.
7,500.
Oh,
7,500.
Yes.
That was incorrect, man.
Okay, well, then, I said, I can't substantiate.
And something else, when you're talking about what Mark just said,
Yes.
you all just said that they were us 2 Republicans up there, which is the same thing as you're trying to say that they were saying stuff. So you're trying to say that all the other Republicans ain't important just because they didn't vote the same way? You're
We did
saying
not
the
say
same
that.
thing as they just said up there at that meeting last night.
Travis, I'm sorry, nobody said they weren't important.
No, and I said, you just said that you had 2 up there and the rest of them voted the other way, so.
I see
When
2.
you don't, when you can't say that we're all Republicans, I think we need to get past this and get together and work together instead of trying to point fingers at each other and say things about each other. If you want the Republican Party to grow as it should, then we need to stick together and try, instead of, just because these commissioners are not here, that gives you no right to say anything about them, that how they voted. You don't know how they voted. You just said you wanted to hear what they said. Okay, they're not here. We don't know why they're not here. They may have another function to do. So don't say what they said up here and use that against them because they're not here. They have a right to defend themselves just like anybody else does.
But some of them never show up here.
That's beside the point. But
If
that
they
don't give you
wanna
no
be
right to judge them.
If they want to be Republicans, they need to support the party. That's part of being a Republican.
I think they all, when they give out their money for bonification, they're supporting the party. Am I right?
But Travis, you're saying we don't know how they voted, but those votes last night were all roll calls. We know how they voted.
I know that, but you're asking it why they voted. You want to know why they voted. They're not here to tell you that. Is that what I heard earlier? You wanted to know why they voted?
No.
As a Republican, I have to agree with everything another Republican says.
That's not.
That's my question. I mean, I don't know what goes on in the commission. I don't know what's in their packets. I know as a Republican, I do not agree with anybody hitting on schools, okay? We have different committees. If I have a problem with Jeff, I'm not gonna go over here to Chris. I'm not gonna go to Chris's sheriff department. I'm gonna go over here to Jeff and I'm say, Jeff, I got a problem with one of your teachers, okay? I have a problem because you need to lead by example. We need to do this. Chris can't do me no good. This commission cannot do any good. You want that done, go where it needs to go, okay? Our schools are getting bombarded. Our schools are getting bombarded. Our schools need support. I don't care if you're Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're independent, I don't care if you don't vote. Our schools need support. Our schools and our children need each and every individual in this county to step up. Because guess what? Our teachers are taking their kids out of our schools and sending them over here to a private school. Why? Because our schools cannot do what the children need. We can't accommodate these children because our community is separated. I don't care if you're from Hemlock, and I don't care if you're from the Highlands. I want your support in these schools. You cannot get your support when you're up here.
Is it possible we need a new superintendent?
I don't know, Mark. I do not know Dr. Griffith. I do not know him. I do not know anybody on that school board. I'm running for school board. I don't know Miss Hooper. I know my kids had her. I know I have 5 grandkids in that school system right now, and I know I want the best for them. I know I have a different perspective than even a lot of people in this room because I was raised by a single mother that had no education. And I had nobody in the community or in the school to step up for me. That's what our schools need. Our schools don't need bickering. Our schools don't need people coming up here and saying, you need to do this. You need to do this. If you have a complaint with your school, go to your school and volunteer.
Do you think if we volunteer that that'll bring the grades up in our schools?
I think it would
that
help.
Our schools would be successful and
I
not
think it
failing?
would help.
I just don't think
I do.
parents can volunteer and make a school successful that is failing.
I don't think it has to be a parent. I think it could be an aunt, an uncle.
I don't care who
I
it is.
I think
when a
if
school
you
system
care,
is failing, repeatedly failing the children of this county, and they have been. For many years, they have failed our children.
Yes.
The people that are failing our children are not the parents that are sending those children to that school. It's the people running those darn schools. And if you don't put people in there that are competent to know how to run a school, nothing's going to change no matter how many times a parent volunteers to go to the field trip.
I agree.
But do
And it's
you-
not a battlefield trip, but we put your
Miss
name on the
Travis.
ticket.
Miss
Right.
Travis, do you know how the state has rated our schools, our 3 schools?
Have you visited the school?
Yes, I have.
Do you have a teacher that's got 30 kids in her room. She has 5 children with IEPs. She has 3 with behavioral issues. She has 1 assistant. How are you gonna make that successful?
Yeah.
Well,
How are you gonna make
you know,
that
we throw money at it
successful?
constantly. They get thrown money. The
Honey,
school
money
gets
don't
more
buy
money
it.
thrown at it. So,
Oh,
who's
hey.
gonna do it?
Hey, listen, this, call to order, is that what it's supposed to
That's
say?
it.
Y'all listen, Travis, you and I disagree, okay?
We disagree.
But I still love you, brother.
Hey, that ain't got nothing to do.
Now
I'm
listen,
not saying
let
that.
me talk.
Go ahead.
We disagree, but where I have to take a stand when a commissioner up there makes a resolution and he is mocked and ridiculed by everybody up there except for Paul Schaefer, who seconded the resolution. And I went to David Abbott last night, had a nice conversation with him. I love David Abbott.
He's a smart man.
I went to Chris Morrison. The mayor had to make me and him leave because he wanted to lock the door. So, Marie, I went to the people. Just what you said, I went to them. And I said, this has to stop. Now, I think, with all due respect, you, Travis, you're reading more into what we're saying. We're saying we need to stand as a united party. Now, I challenge you, Travis, go back to last year and take vote counts. And you're going to see exactly what Tom said.
10-2.
11-2, 9-2. You're going to tell me that Roy Brandt is so ignorant that he can't bring a resolution before the board and get a vote? There's animosity against him because he challenges the system. And he is being mocked and ridiculed every meeting. So, and yes, again, Marie, I love what you said. That was beautiful. And it come from the heart. Now, I did exactly what you said last night. I was troubled that I seen 15, and if you count the mayor and council, 17 people representing this county acting like children.
And our kids learn that.
And they do. And you know those Interact kids, we talked about this. Those Interact kids they didn't leave after their presentation. They sat right there and seen that spectacle. And see, I'm shaking because I'm so passionate about this. I don't care if you're Democrat or you're Republican, but please come to that meeting every month
We need to pack that place.
with the mindset we're going to work together for the betterment of the county and every citizen that lives in this county. And if you can't do that, then you resign your position.
We agree on that, because I
Thank
do
you.
believe that everybody on that board needs a good talking to from their mama.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm just gonna tell you, the way I
Even
talk
me,
to my
I wish you
kids,
still with
you
us.
need to recognize what you're doing, because these kids are watching you.
Yes.
These kids see you. Why would these kids want to be leaders if they're going to be up there acting like that?
And
I don't
Marie,
care
it's
any of
just
them.
not,
I love them.
it's just not the kids that was at the meeting. You know how social media
Oh, they're
works.
all,
Yeah.
these two
They
young
see.
ladies were sitting right there taking picture after picture after picture of that meeting last night. I stood right there and watched them taking it and giggling, okay? And they're gonna be all over Facebook or Instagram or whatever the hell they use.
Travis, Marie, Yvonne, thank you so much for your comments.
And I want to say this, I really appreciate what Marie is doing. I don't have a thing against Marie. It's just that she and I see this differently about our failing schools.
Right.
You know, I think the responsibility is a lot farther than teachers, you know, it's.
Absolutely.
I feel sorry for our teachers, but I don't think you're that far apart because she's running
Yeah.
for that school board position to change,
I hope she gets it.
to exact change. We're all rooting for you, Marie.
Marie, let me say one thing. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was hired by a guy who had a PhD to teach in a private school. This was the first year of this school. These kids were the product of forced busing around Memphis. And when they came into our school, our brand new little school, our school the first year was in Elvis Presley's, I think it was a Methodist church. And those kids were wild for about a week or less. And I was the only one that was not certified to teach. And of course, I'm not the tallest person in the world. But my nickname became Sheriff Bateman.
As well it should.
And those kids excelled within a very short time because, number one, we meant business, and number two, we had parental support. Those parents were paying big bucks, and we had parental support. And if you don't have parental support, it's all lost.
It does start
You
at
gotta have
home.
both.
We all know that. Okay, last thing I wanted to bring up about the meeting. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on Rourke's resolution. It got defeated. What was the vote, Tom?
9-2, I think.
Yeah.
Everything was 9-2.
But here's what he was trying to say. There are commissioners who are on, I know one particular commissioner, will not name names, he's on 8 committees. He gets $75 every month for those committees that meet. And he's on select committees that meet. Then you got, I'm going to use Rourke as an example. And we could throw Paul in there because he's on 2 committees. Rourke's on 1 committee, the sanitation committee. Never meets. You know why? Rourke doesn't play dice. And people could slam me. They're going to see this on Facebook. But I've seen voting habits change over committee assignments. Now, they may have a good reason. I'm not saying they don't. To change their voting habits. But what Rory said was, we got this many committees, we got this many commissioners, let's calculate if every commissioner was on, say, 3 committees, that he should be on 5 if you think about it, because you're supposed to have a member from each district on the committee. So every commissioner should be on 5 committees. They're going to meet once a month. They're going to get $75 for that, plus their $175. And let's pay every commissioner. Huh?
150.
150, not 175. You pay every commissioner the same amount of money. Then appointments to committees cannot come into play. It cannot be used. And that's all he was saying. To me, it made perfect sense. But what was the vote? 9-2.
Thank you.
To me, it was common sense. If you want to, and you mayoral candidates, if you want to take that out of play, where people say, oh, he's on all those committees because he's voting in my favor all the time. If you want to take it all the way, you put equitable pay for commissioners in. Now, whatever happened, I don't know. But it made good sense to me. Okay, y'all have been awesome tonight. I want to open it up. I talk a lot. I got the gift of gab. So I'd like to go around the table, and if you got anything from a board standpoint, any advice to our candidates, anything, I'd like to give you an opportunity to speak. Paul? Nothing?
I'm gonna keep my mouth closed.
See, I wish and I hope everybody feels they have liberty here, that you could speak.
On schools, you might want to know this. In 24, the state testing on our schools, number 1 is the highest you can get. That was Whitwell. Marion County was a number 2. South Pittsburgh was a 4, the lowest you could get. I am concerned with schools because I am dyslexic. And through grammar school and high school, I was passed through just to meet the quota for certification for monies for the school. I went into the service and they looked at my record, says, "You don't have a high school education." I said, "No, sir. You will go to USAFI and get your GED," which I did. So I think God puts people on your path. I went to work. I was up for a promotion, but because I didn't have a college education, I couldn't get the promotion. I was told, you need to go back to school and get your college degree. I went back to community college. I sat in a rhetoric class. And the teacher says, "I want you to write down what you hope to get out of this class." And I sat there. I can't spell. I can't write a paper. I don't like to read. I hope I can improve on these so I can get a college degree. Next day, teacher came in and said, our professor, I had some interesting comments. I really looked at it, and she went over the syllabus and what we were gonna do. And in class, she said, "Oh, by the way, Mr. Schaefer, I want to see you in my office." I figured, I'm out of here. They're not gonna waste their time on me. I went in, she handed me a book. She said, "Open up and start reading." I said, "Where?" "Anywhere." I started reading, and she says, "Stop, I know what your problem is, and I can help you. You are dyslexic." I was 22 years old. Finally, somebody took the initiative to help me. She helped me. Now, grammar school and high school, I got D's and F's. I went to community college and to a four-year college, got my bachelor of science degree. My grade point average was a 3.1 because one person took the time to help me. That's what we need in our schools, and that's what we don't have, and that's what we need to press on. And I commend you for going. I wish you the best of luck and help our children because they're our future. And if we don't pay attention to them, we're going to lose them. And football rings mean crap. What we need to do is get a science lab in there and get a reading lab and a lecture lab so these children can work and have people help them overcome their difficulties. Now I'll get off my soapbox.
Suzanne?
I'm gonna pass, but I agree with what you said, Paul. Very good. Schools
Marion?
definitely need help.
Talking about education, I taught for 10 years at Valencia Community College. I taught chemistry there. But English just happens to be one of my strengths. And even when I was teaching at Memphis Prep, I would grade their paper for whatever chemistry they knew. But if there were any grammar or spelling errors, I would circle it, put a little gold tag on their paper, and it says you have a grammatical or spelling error. Correct it if you want credit for this paper at all. And the headmaster backed me up. And the head of the department at Valencia backed me up. I did the same thing. And those kids finally learned correct grammar. There was one girl, though, that came into my class at Valencia, and that poor girl couldn't write a sentence. I mean, she could not write a sentence, nothing coherent. So all she got back were these gold tags. And of course she failed because she wasn't getting credit for the chemistry either, which she wasn't doing too well at. And 6 months later, she was back in my class, and she was writing the English language in college. Finally, somebody stopped her. That's what it takes.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know our schools are not doing good. Richard City, I don't think we got about 200-some kids in the whole school.
I'm worried about Richard
But
City.
it's kind of funny, ain't it? We turn right around and give Griffith another, 4 or 5 year extension?
To 2030.
It don't sound like we ought to be giving anybody extensions when they, like that.
Full disclosure, I think a lot of Dr. Griffith, I think that we need to fund our schools better. We need to hire more teachers so we don't have 30 pupil
Can I say one
class
thing?
loads. Yes, go ahead.
I've heard, and this is hearsay, that somebody went in to the superintendent of schools to apply for a job, and the first thing they were asked was, who are your people? Where are you from? What does that have to do with your qualifications for teaching? None. That's discrimination. And that's part of what Rurik was talking about last night. That has no place in applying for a job as a teacher.
Or anywhere.
I have a daughter that I would love for her to come and apply. My daughter is extremely talented as a violinist. She's played at Carnegie Hall. She now has to teach in a Chinese school in Brooklyn, New York, to make enough money to buy a house, even though she was making plenty as a freelance violinist. I'd love for her to come down here and teach here. But the first thing he'll ask is, who are your folks? Well, I'm not from Marion County. I wasn't born here, so she doesn't even need to apply. I'm a little worried about that.
Okay.
That's enough.
Couple things that come up that I'd like to comment on is the football. I hear, especially on the Republican Party, I hear a lot of kind of negativity about the football. I want you to do a little research and see how many football players in this county got full rides to 4-year universities. And knowing the income level in this county, I wonder how many of those people would not have been able to go to college. They get 2 years free on the Hope Scholarship. But when I played football, I learned discipline. I learned respect for each other. I learned rules and consequences for not following the rules. Team. So, say what you say. Most football activities are funded by boosters, alumni.
And they also build the students.
They do.
When you play football, you're part of the community, you play basketball, baseball, whatever it is, you're built up as a student. You have to be there. You want to be there, you wear your shirt. You have to get your C or else you can't play. But you see these guys later, and I see them later. I taught at Chattanooga State for several years, and I would see a lot of people come out of school, they were not capable of doing Chattanooga State work. But they never applied themselves, worked, like you sometimes do when you're on the football field. Some of y'all, I don't know, you did? Okay, good. I played at Whitwell, so we're not gonna talk about all the wins. See, y'all that are from here get a joke out of that, all right? But it does help. It's not just that, it's that and something else. You know, you can't just say, well, we're not gonna have football no more. No, let's not have, I think, I just was down with Coach Chubb this weekend, and he's starting a track team at Jasper. And I said, Coach Chubb, why are you starting a track team? He said, some of these kids have no hand-eye coordination. And that's what he told me, so I got them something they can do. That's a good thing. They're involved. They're out there doing stuff on the week. They're not out, people say, oh, our kids don't have nothing to do. Yeah, they do. They just gotta wanna do something.
Well, and we instill work ethics with
Yes.
us. There's so many positives about football, baseball, basketball in our high school.
Wrestling.
Sports, wrestling. Look at that young man we honored last night. You know, education and extracurricular activity can go hand in hand for the betterment of the school, or the student, I'm sorry. And the last thing I gotta say, and I got a text just a minute ago from a man that I just have ultimate respect for. He said, I worked late and my wife is ill, so I stayed home with her and watched some of the GOP meeting. I really appreciate your grasp of the situation concerning the county commission and why it is so dysfunctional. My respect to you for having the intestinal fortitude to speak the truth. And I don't think anything I've said up here, and I may have offended some of you, but I don't think I said anything that wasn't factual. We can help some are misled. We can only reinforce the truth. And that's what I want this meeting for. And you know, if you call me out, prove me wrong, I apologize. So I know this meeting was a little heated tonight, and I love it. We got a good example from. We were respectful.
Respectful.
We were respectful.
You can disagree, but you got to be respectful.
But I hear some stuff about this meeting, and that's okay. Miss Kim,
Yes, sir.
you got anything?
Just that I appreciate your story. And thank you for that.
Yes.
That was very moving, and thank you to the ladies and to Travis for bringing all that to our attention. We need to hear from everyone, and I hear a lot of passion in both the ladies about where the fixes need to be made, and I don't think they're very far apart either.
I don't either.
I don't. I see a lot of passion in both of them, and thank you for that. Thank you for saying what you said.
My turn. Okay. I'm with the girls. Okay. Education. Okay. When I ran, God, yes, for school board. I had the deck stacked against me because the guy was ex-cop, knew everybody, glad handing, slapping backs, you know, the good old boys. And he was here last night, right behind the superintendent.
Yes.
I'm gonna take care of everything.
Yeah.
Be his muscle. That man had somebody else, whether he knew it or not, that trashed me on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, so I didn't know it, but Kathy Blevins was on, and she got into it with the guy. His last name is Keefe.
Him. We know Chuck.
So anyway, he and Kathy Blevins got into it on Facebook. And finally, he couldn't win it. He says, have a good day. And he cut it out. Then I had somebody turn me into the post office that I was stuffing papers in mailboxes. I said, really? I said, I know the rules. I know the law. I can't touch a mailbox. And if they had pushed it further, I said, I'll be glad to go down to Bo. He can take my fingerprints, and if they can point out the dadgum mailbox I touched, we can see if it works. But between that and then some snooty young woman called me up and we talked for about, I swear it'd be about 45 minutes or an hour, about I really am not qualified because I can't even write decent letters and speak well and all this. And I'm like, really? If you're talking to a crowd, you talk to the crowd. You don't talk above the crowd. And that's what she was getting. She was too good for us. Well, between all of that crap going around the school system, they kept pushing that. So watch out for that.
Travis and I had a conversation about running for office and social media. And I think his advice to me or vice versa was, you don't respond to that.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a hard time because I'm strong-willed and
I did not respond to
outspoken.
anything except
You
a telephone
wasn't.
call.
Yeah.
The problem is, they had a captive audience of all the people they knew in the education in this county. And there's another thing. Within the last year or two, we saw reports from Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. They changed to a system for phonics and English. They went from the toilet up, way up. And I don't know if this school system is doing it or not.
The state's done it, what you just said.
Tennessee, they've started doing it. It's about time.
One thing I do want to, and again in full disclosure, Chucky has taught me more about our education system in Marion County over the last 8 months that I've gotten to know him, and I appreciate him taking the time to share those thoughts with me. So with that being said, we'd like to open it up to you. If you got any questions for the board, any comments on tonight's meeting, or any suggestions, we'd like to just have you open up. You know, we're all family here.
On polling days and all that stuff, does the Republican group have one big tent for all that?
You know, several times there's always 2 or 3 tents, but within the first hour, we're all congregated under the first tent closest to the election commission. So your answer is not technically, but we really do. We have one big tent. A lot of us get broom handles or something, make signs that we could stand out and wave. That's totally legitimate. You're not supposed to yell at people and say, vote for me. But I have said, hey, John, good to see you. You know, because you know them.
When Trump was running, way back when, not this past time, but the first time, I took the 2 broom handles with some of those things sticking out, held the sign, Trump signs, and we were doing it around the Court Square area, and we were getting semis coming through, beeping at us, and cars beeping and everything. It was pretty obvious Trump was going to win because there was a lot of beeping going on.
Yeah.
But it's fun getting out there and, you know, campaigning. It's fun.
That's something is we candidates, for the most part, all support each other. Primary's tough now. You can support anybody you want. I can't. But definitely during the August election, early voting, we need to come to, Tom said it a long time ago to me, we have to come together after the primary. And we have to rally behind every candidate we have.
One more. How many, can you explain why there's so many unattested? I mean, that people don't have anybody running against them. It's on the ballot.
I can't, you know, you look at, I want to say, Tom, do you know what Linda Mason,
Linda
Chris
Mason.
Morrison.
Yeah, and he runs unopposed. Morrison does. Mrs. Mason does as well.
Right, and there's somebody else in that
I think it's
district.
Nunley, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was Nunley too.
No, he's opposed.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Rollins is running unopposed.
Yes.
Right. Are they all
And so is
three in the same
Logan.
district?
Logan is
Yes.
running on.
Yeah, Logan. Yeah, that's
That
right.
one district, you know, the incumbents are really strong. You gotta know that. And they are, and there's just nobody step up to run against them.
Isn't there some independents running against?
Yes, no,
candidates?
no, but I'm talking about the
Yeah.
primary. No other Republicans, as long as I've been following it, has run against. Now Linda's new. She's only 4 years ago. This is her first term, but nobody. She's in. Dennis Rollins is in, and Chris Morrison is in. And I really enjoyed talking to Chris last night, getting to know him.
I think a lot of us sitting out in the peanut gallery, we were lost on that whole discussion and stuff, the 9 to 2. We couldn't figure out what was going on because we weren't part of what was known. And so
Well-
we were sitting there, what the heck?
Again, nobody, I can't believe anybody walked out of that commission meeting last night feeling good.
No.
If you go on the county's webpage and you look at the county commissioners, they have each district, what seat they're sitting in, they got their picture, what seat they are in. And then if you go down to mine, in District 3, I'm the only one that has their telephone number listed. So when Chris Morrison says, you could have called me, I don't have his phone number. I don't know his phone number. Phone number was never given to me. Before, when I asked for a workshop, I went to the mayor and got a workshop. The mayor could have gone to Chris Morrison and said, you know, we need to get a workshop. They just don't want to talk about it.
Last order of business, our next meeting will be April 28th, and obviously we will post that. April 28th is the last Tuesday of the month. And that's only, 2 weeks before the primaries. Now, in closing, before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I wish every one of you candidates, I don't believe in luck, so I don't say best of luck or good luck. Just don't believe in it. I think God has a plan. But I wish you well in your races. And know this, if you win, you got this board, and I know you got the Republican Party behind you. So, with that being said, could I have a motion to
I make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And thank y'all for all you do.